When it comes to challenges and where it's got to be you or me, I got to win because I just come from that. I come from that type place where if you don't win, you're a nobody. Yep. And I can't afford to be a nobody.
TAZE Raekwon Moore, born September 21st, 1998. One small element of basketball I love is when you see someone doing it at a high level and it inspires you. When GTV Hoops on Instagram posted these clips of TAZE Moore, I couldn't help but be moved by his story. The story of perseverance from a guy afraid to be a nobody, as he says, that came from essentially being that, leaving high school unranked and not recruited by any of the big name schools, eventually settling on Cal State Bakersfield, where through the first 24 games, he was an afterthought freshman that was a great athlete, probably the most athletic player on any roster in the country, but still raw and rough around the edges of an actual good basketball player. But the story isn't just one of a guy that came from nowhere to the highest level, it goes further. Add to that a gruesome injury to his right leg where he went up for a windmill dunk on the fast break and everything shattered midair. He landed and a look of shock at what happened before a towel was thrown on his face so he couldn't see the entire aftermath of his leg that would be changed forever. A leg that turned bionic after 5 surgeries and even removing a piece of his hip to place in the leg to reconstruct a broken fibula and tibia. It started out as a stress fracture he played with all throughout his senior year of high school that finally reached a breaking point, so to speak, midair, setting him back 634 days, but completely changing his life, giving him the motivation, along with the time away to fully understand the blessing in disguise, an opportunity he was given to create an even better story than expected. After missing the rest of the 16-17 season, he sat out the entire 17-18 season as well, returning with a plate, rod, screws, and a piece of hip bone in his leg. Everyone, including himself, feeling he may never jump the same again. Little that they knew. But things didn't just immediately turn around. He played 3 more seasons at Cal State Bakersfield, where he improved every year in scoring, rebounding, and three-point shooting, before transferring to Houston and having another solid year with a chance to play overseas when college was over. No one thought he'd actually make it to the NBA one day and be this close to getting back there full time and having his freakish athleticism on full display. You may not have ever heard of TAZE Moore, but for these reasons, he hit his insane growth spurt, and it's still not over. Salute to GTV Hoops on IG for this request. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. TAZE Moore is a 6'5" shooting guard born in Memphis, Tennessee, but moved to South Haven, Mississippi, where he played for the local high school. He says when he was younger, he struggled with being a hothead, and it led to public displays of anger on the court, kicking chairs and screaming at refs that he believes affected him being courted by the power programs. He committed to Cal State Bakersfield as one of the few D1s that recruited him, averaging just 2 points in 10 minutes as a freshman the first 24 games before the leg injury that courted him off on a stretcher. He received a medical redshirt for the year, continuing on until he hit the transfer portal and made his way to the University of Houston. Coach Kelvin Sampson said if his team pulled up to any gym in America, they at least knew they had the most athletic guy on the floor. Stunt number 1, continuing to believe. I think this story can be one that truly helps a young hooper somewhere going through unexpected growth stunts that has them in a place they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel and are now entertaining thoughts of just giving up altogether. Life is short and other opportunities may be out there to get started early doing something different, you may think, but not only is life short, you only get one life to live, and I don't mean and then you die. In basketball, we only have a certain time frame to jump through each window to get you further along the journey, where wasting time doubting yourself instead of pushing through that tunnel can result in you getting to an age where the windows of basketball are closed forever. Now an investment you put your whole life into, one that made you who you are in every way, is thrown down the drain for you to start over and be late in pursuing something else while everyone else there has spent their entire lives investing in. Most people give up right before they reach the glimmer of light that can change their whole life, but not TAZE. How easy could it have been to not risk returning to the court after having 5 surgeries 5 different times, where when they got done, you could feel the grooves of the head of a screw through your skin? Being laid up for 634 days where you can't walk much or take care of yourself like you need to can be a pride strike alone that would have most people ready to give it all up. Then to think it's not like he came back to dominate throughout college. He was a solid player on a low major program that transferred to Houston and had a decent year, but still he went undrafted when it was all said and done. If that's not enough, how about going overseas from there, only lasting 1 game before leaving the team and 2 more years in the G League? Settling for better than expected at that point would be fine, but pushing to finally get a 10-day contract 2 years later was the right move, one that showed through it all TAZE Moore was built different, literally. Stunt number 2, his athleticism. Of course, it takes a little more than having heart and willpower strong enough to succeed and make it to high levels in basketball. You also have to have a talent or skill that stands out above the rest, whether you worked on it much more than everyone else and mastered it, or you take what you were naturally blessed with and use it to take you there on its back. TAZE is a one of one when it comes to his mix of elite jumping ability, speed and quickness, and a motor usually unmatched. As a jumper, you don't see many that can explode off either 2 or 1 foot just as effective and dunk with either hand like Moore. You mix that with him being extremely difficult to stay in front of, how quick he gets off his first step into his second and third, that the defense is unable to catch up is a testament to his deception and will to get by no matter what, and the work he's put in that led to believing and trusting the move will work. At 6'5", TAZE Moore isn't the most blessed height-wise, but makes up for it working his opponent on both his offensive attacks and on defense, where his deflections set up a lot of his high-flying fast break dunks. Ones he makes look easy with his max vertical measured at 47.5, a number you don't hear much and seems impossible until you see him consistently dunk on bigger guys, even in the NBA. Speaking of the NBA, he received a 10-day contract while a part of Portland's G League team, one he joined after being drafted 9th overall in the G League draft in 2022. He became the first call-up in Rip City Remix history January 20th, 2024. The 10-day didn't work out, but in April he signed with the Blazers for the rest of the season, achieving his dream of making the NBA. Athleticism is a tricky ingredient to being a basketball success, as some work on it to where it's sufficient and even get some oohs and ahs, but then there's guys like Moore who were blessed beyond belief to have that naturally, even after all he went through. Stunt number 3, luck and timing. 2 elements easily overlooked but important in having success in life in general. People sometimes confuse luck as something that just falls out the sky and lands on an unselected person. But I believe luck is just a different way of saying deserving. When you work hard and prepare for something to the point it feels natural, good fortune from the universe rewards you for it. The more you work on something, the better you are at it and the further you go with it. From the outside looking in, a person might say you're lucky, unaware of the fact this is what you got from the long days and nights working on your craft. That favor from the universe also opens doors for you to walk through, making you being ready perfectly lined up with the right time to show it. Had the Blazers not lose Damian Lillard, their franchise player for 11 straight years, where he made them a good to contending team, there may not have been a spot on the roster even for a 10-day for TAZE Moore. But now that the team is rebuilding, they have room to try new things, and why not the most athletic man right under their nose? All in all, the TAZE Moore story is a great one that I hope he gets to tell on a big stage one day, that took him from a nobody to timing and everything else fitting perfectly into place for him to say after everything he's been through, he made the NBA and turned what seemed like a distant dream to reality. Salute, much respect. For these reasons, TAZE Moore hit his insane growth spurt. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.